T1 decide to go Lulu. I mean, it does help that Yasuo. We've actually seen Labrov flash Wild Growth with with BrokenBlade's Yasuo just out of range of getting the last breath.
And in T1C, you're thinking about, oh my god, G2 has been so annoying with these denial picks. The Skarner, now we have the Cho'Gath. You know, if you're thinking about, okay, we want to be playmakers, we want to get in there with Yasuo and Silas and Gnar and look for big plays, well, Polymorph is pretty darn annoying when you are looking for those types of angles. We're not going to see the Blitz blind. I just don't believe it.
I don't either.
But it would be fun if we did see it, but I just don't believe it.
Yeah, Aurora makes much more sense. Caps has a absolutely top tier Aurora in my mind. Saw it at first stand specifically against Gen G. And now we'll see what he can do with it in this game. Leaving support for last on G2's side, whereas T1 now going to look towards their AD carry and their top laner. It's going to be a difficult pick for them because, not top laner, sorry, support. It's going to be a difficult pick for them because you do have that counter support for G2.
Feels like it's probably going to be the answer here.
Yeah.
And then the question is, what would be the option for Labrov? A couple of cool stats. The last and only time T1 was ever 3-0'd at an international was Worlds 2017 Finals. The oh-so-famous Malzahar series. With Faker, in tears on stage after that. That is an iconic moment. And G2 has never been reverse swept. So there is kind of these two things, working
Unstoppable
here.
force and movable objects.
Exactly. G2, has not been reverse swept. But T1 never really gets 3-0'd. So those are two sides there.
I mean, so here's the thing. T1 could win this game and then G2 win.
An explosive engage from Faker or Carrier or Doran Gragas or someone, right? And so G2 is just saying, we're going to draft everything that stops that.
Yeah, make sure that you can't actually get onto our backline. Make sure that you can't actually find these Sonic Wave resonating strikes from Ono. As Skumon steps forward, we'll be looking for a ward around those Razor Beaks. Places it to make sure that he can track where Ona is in the early game. And there's a counter ward coming out from Faker towards the enemy Razors. Both junglers going to start on the top side of the map. Wouldn't be surprised if we see Ona do the 3-camp into reset into longsword and then go back down to bot. We often see that on the Lee Sins as Labrov and Hansama try to step up.
And I will say something we haven't talked a ton about is the bot lane 2v2. And I feel like that is a huge victory for G2, right? Because one of our biggest questions coming in is, are you good enough to hold up in the 2v2 against Paze and Keria, who have the ability to make so many of the world's best players look silly, right? And it just hasn't even been a conversation point because it has not been about the 2v2.
Speaking of, Paze getting chased out here. Loyalty program doesn't get him, but they do manage to take a couple of autos out of him. There was a heal used on the side of G2, and Keria hits the Gleaming Quill, so that will heal Paze back up. He's only gone through one of his potions so far.
Yeah, you really got to dodge the recon Qs. It's very similar to Soraka, where when you hit a Q, not only is it a positive trade as far as the damage, but it's a third of a potion every time. And he just hit 2 in a row, so that's plus 100 health there for Paze, which means he gets to hold on to his potion, no problem. Owner very early up towards top side, though. They feel like they need to get BrokenBlade involved. I think Doran not being level 3 makes it pretty tough, though.
We talked about the possibility of a 3-camp into longsword. He's actually staying around a little bit longer here. Ona, as BrokenBlade goes in, what doesn't connect. Ona here with that level 3. BrokenBlade looking for the Mortal Steel. Has to try and dash away, but still, even with the wallop falling short, BrokenBlade has no way out. First blood, Ona.
Nice pathing there from Owner. BB did about as well as he can, given the circumstances. Doran, he was able to avoid some of the skill shots coming in from Doran, avoided the boulder toss. Didn't just dash into the wallop that was pre-pressed there by Doran. But Lee Sin's auto-attacking you. You're going to go down in that spot. Skumon going to get back what he can on the other side, so he does steal away one of those camps. But it is going to be an early pickaxe buy here for Owner, so he's going to be big man on campus. And T1 trying to put Doran into a more comfortable spot. Faker versus Caps, though, one of the most iconic matchups in international history. These guys have battled so many times, and there are the accolades. Domestic title 17 for Caps, just absurd. As Doran did receive a gank and then received a trade that made him want another.
Yes, he's like, oh, I've got my Cull. It's not going to be enough to survive through the Yasuo, who can continually jump onto you and then dash away. Windwall also doing really well into the boomerang because Labrov flashing away from Keria there was going to get caught up in that grand entrance. Well played by Keria. Blade Caller won't get the root.
It is always a weird spot when you have 600 gold, which I'm assuming that's what he based with, because he goes Cull refillable, right? Oh, Paze.
Skewmond in with the Ishtar's impact. They'll catch Alpeo's handshake back as well, but Pays able to survive. Burns the barrier and the flash! But Hunsummer burns it down and flashes away from the Gleaming Quill. All summoners lost for T1's bots.
That's a big-time gank there from Skewmond, and great follow-up from Hans and Lebrov. Pays thought with the barrier he didn't have to early flash, and he was made to regret it big time as he allowed the Ishtal's impact to get him and gets punished there big time. And BrokenBlade doing a solid for Skewmond here, chasing him out of his jungle.
Faker. Caps won't be able to kill him, but because Faker can't move and because Doran doesn't want to move from top, as you say, BrokenBlade comes across and saves the Grump.
I mean, that's the dream as a jungler. You get to make a gank on the other side. The payment is supposed to be your camps.
Yeah.
But your top laner says, no, you don't get that either. So let's watch this one more time. You know, Pays easily could have reacted to this with a flash, but his calculation is, I have barrier, we have heal, you can't kill me. So they use the heal early, but look at the redirection of the angle there, and it looked like the handshake connected as well, I do believe. You know, so was able to get that follow-up, and then Hans Q flash in, does take him down, and then the reactive flash, even though the bailout was quick, the bailout doesn't matter if you die because you're not going to kill carry in that spot. And they are pumped up, to say the least, there on the G2 side.
Yeah, leads across the bottom of the map. Caps as well with a 300 gold lead. Doran is ahead of BrokenBlade, and Owner does have an advantage over Skewmond, getting towards that level 6 as well. Just short of 5 right now as BrokenBlade looks for a trade onto Doran once again. We haven't seen too many rush Drakes in this series, often actually seeing the grubs taken around the same time. That's a good I think, BB's going to hit 6 off the next minion, and Doran, expecting that, didn't want to get caught out.
Well, Doran got his E interrupted, and he could go for Q flash.
BrokenBlade flashes in. A last breath for Doran, begins to dash away, but he has no flash left. The Steel Tempest needs to connect, and BrokenBlade with a full blade is able to get a solo bolo.
Top gap. Doran gets solo killed there. Big misplay as he tried to use the hop.
Faker going in onto Caps. Caps will use his own Between Worlds to cause a Venn diagram of escaping to happen.
So Doran tried to hop out and got interrupted by the Q. He didn't actually wait for it to come out, so he got interrupted there. Then he just kind of panicked, got nervous, had to flash early, and then no flash, no jump, and BB is massively ahead. 600 gold up after you got a 3-camp gank from your jungler. That is a disaster class from Doran, and G2 up 1k early.
Faker here as well. Jumping in as they look for Lebrov, and Lebrov will fall. Skewmond trying to contest with only his support. The Blade Caller there for the root. Skewmond needs the Ishtal's impact to get away and will manage to survive. Caps was unable to move from mid, was actually recalling when that started because he was still low HP.
They do get them off the dragon, though, so that is going to mean the early Ocean Dragon that is so effective, T1 not able to actually get. So G2 do go over there, cost them a death, but they stop the dragon. So not the worst, not the best. BB on these counter picks, showing up big once again here. You know, putting that pressure onto Doran, and Doran just not rising to the occasion thus far. You know, felt that pressure, early flashed, early jumped, then had neither, and gets caught by BB, who still had his flash available. And that is just such a big time play here, and it's all about this earlier one. So E flash, he has no flash, and he has no jump because he used both on that previous attempt. If he had either one, he walks out and he's chilling, but he has nothing, and BrokenBlade makes it look easy, hits everything, finds the all-in, and that is what you want from your players in these big-time moments.
That's what you want from BrokenBlade as well. If you're a G2 fan, this guy has been... He's been on the struggle bus, Azale. He has not been dominant in the lane as much as you'd want him to be. There have been questions as to whether his performance is of higher caliber enough to be on G2, and now, after the HLE loss that was so disappointing for all of EU, to show up like this, to have 3 games where he has been dominant, as we see the handshake coming back, grand entrance there as well. Featherstorm, Hansummer has a bailout on him. Chain of Corruption down, Hansummer will come back to life with the barrier. Pays, flashes away and survives, almost dies. Lebrov flashes for him, but the auto can't get in range because he's not able to see him. Great play from the T1 bot lane to get out of that alive.
Yeah, and T1 bot lane, they needed some momentum. They needed some life in this series here, and they show up big time when they need it most. Hans, did his flash come up after he died? Was it that tight? I really want to see that back. And maybe the observers could track that.
Blade Caller, well played. Pays walked around outside of vision. Lebrov trying to hold the way for his AD carry, but it costs him dearly.
Yeah, and Hans not going to be able to get in and get anything. Faker looking.
I think he's just distracting Caps as Owner was doing the Drake Impale used. That's sidestepped by Caps.
Yeah, good sidestep there. Big couple kills, though, for T1. And BrokenBlade getting a nice little chunk there. Doesn't want to fully commit because Doran was about to Mega out. You look for the all-ins after the Mega. Here it is one more time. Pays and Hans, both level 6. Gets the pull through. Really nice start. And then in comes the handshake. They don't have it for the disengage. As soon as that is used onto Pays, Keria says, you can't stop me now. Goes in immediately. I love how Pays plays the wall there the whole time because it's all about getting the damage down and then flashing out before he can get the reset on the bailout. So he gets all of his damage down, hugs the wall the whole time so he can flash over. Then we see there from Labrov, he tried to follow and kill him off, but he lost vision as he went into that brush. Even with the ward, it was a little bit too late. And now Pays very close to having his first item.
Chase onto Keria, impaled to pull him back. Owner's on the way across, and with a battle chance, the chain of corruption will land, but Owner is here now, and T1 will try and turn the play around. Pays so low, flash from Skumon gets him. A grand entrance onto Hans Summer, but the turnaround is turned into a hostile takeover by G2. They'll find 2 on the bottom side.
Yeah, they lose out on the 2v2, but they bring the extra man this time. Skumon making the difference, gets down there. Hans, Labrov, and Skumon getting a couple kills, and BrokenBlade might look for an all-in.
Nah, back. BrokenBlade, can he land? Doesn't go for the sweeping blade in the end. Storman forced away again, does have the TP. And the question now for G2 is, how do you accelerate this Yasuo? Like, he is winning in the 1v1, but do you want to get him out on the map? Do you want to play around that next Drake in 3 minutes time? They have got 3 grubs, so all the time that BB has alone in that top lane is advantageous to him.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And I think it's going to be up to BB and when he thinks he can no longer punish. Keria tries to go clear for some vision. He had a ward over the wall, but not on that side. Skumon was not spotted, and this Chains of Corruption was huge. And look at the confidence from Hansama. He does not delay. Flashes in with the Q. Once again, they get that final auto as Skumon flashes to follow as well. If they slow play it, I thought there was an angle for Owner to turn this around on them, but instead they just go immediately, and now G2 overloading top side. 4 members top. Doran cannot play.
Caught out by the Steel Tempest. Last breath coming out from BrokenBlade as well as he forces Doran away. 2 plates still remain, almost 1 on this top lane tower. 11 minutes in, G2 with 4 members strong. Owner going forward. Great handshake from Labrov. He'll tank the tower instead. Doran has the mega quickness from the side. Chain of Corruption coming out from Hansama, but he's caught with the wall of it. Shoves impact from Skumon into the double impale! G2 always have their teammates back. Faker forced down towards the bottom side. Skumon looking for the chase. Doran jumps the wall, but Caps is here, and he sends Doran into the afterlife. T1 try to defend, G2 turn it on its head.
Skumon trying to burst him down. Can he finish off Faker? He has a Kingslayer.
He gets a 1-for-1. Keria does not do the same. Caps secures that kill to round it out.
The other story, though, is that Pays was pushing bot lane the whole time, getting solo gold on that plate. G2 do get the first tower, though. They finish it off critically. At the end of the day, they had 5 members top. T1 only had 4. G2 have a 2,000 gold lead here on match point. The pressure is on. Pays with those early kills isn't even up gold anymore.
The weirding out only with an alternator there for Caps. Does have 4 stacks on the Dark Seal, but now for G2, the 0-3 loss against HLE, a distant memory. I think a lot of EU fans, myself included, were like, oh, it's going to be 0-3, 0-3, and now against the 3-time back-to-back world champions, T1 look battered and bruised. They are finding things, and last time we saw a big gold lead for G2, T1 were able to eke their way back into the game. But it can be a struggle. Keria on this Rakan has had a great game so far, and he'll continue to look for these picks.
He really has, but I just feel like, again, I like G2's tools more, right? You know, when you think about how the fights are likely to go, you have Gnar going Mega, and when he is Mega, T1 are 4 melee champions against Labrov here, who is going to have the hostile takeover, against Skumon, who has the Impale, all this AoE CC, all the damage that can come in from Caps. And Pays, you're relying on him to get so much of the damage done, but Windwall makes that very, very difficult as well. So you are relying on one of these picture-perfect engages that we know that Owner and Doran and Keria and Faker are capable of delivering, but they haven't really been able to find them so far in this series. G2 has just had great answers throughout.
Pace, the only player on T1 with a lead, does have the Essence Reaver complete to the static shiv for Hans Summer. Drake up in 3 seconds time. Caps caught out by the Wallop. Doran just looking to take him low. Caps doesn't have TP, Doran does. So if Caps wants to make it a 4v4 around this Drake, he needs to chase Doran out as they look for the engage on BrokenBlade. The quickness lands the charm, good wind wall, but BB can't survive through them. T1 find a great pick around the Drake, and because of that, G2 unlikely to take the fight. A handshake, okay, good deal. You can have that one, you took our top laner.
Yeah, they're going to look to try to get a couple plates here. Skewmon and Lebrov not looking for a fight, just looking to keep them away from these minions here mid, as Paze and Carrier try to make their way back over to defend this tower. And that was a bit of a risky position that BrokenBlade was in. He did have the flash, he had the wind wall, so he felt he was going to be in a decent spot to find that angle, come in behind them, punish T1 as they went for that dragon. But there's a lot of mobility on this T1 roster. The ability to chase down with the quickness, with all of the dashes on Faker and Owner are showing why you have to still pay that respect.
Caps gets his recall off just before Doran checks the bush. BrokenBlade trying to defend this tier 1 on the bottom side, but we talk about the dashes, and BrokenBlade might need to find a way out of this one. Last breath used by Faker, the sweeping blade from BrokenBlade. He doesn't have the shield, and Paze will take his life.
They do the Yasuo combo to the Yasuo. They got the Lee Sin to set it up for that stolen last breath. Caps, Lebrov, and Skewmon all coming in, but Faker is still behind them. They don't know!
They flash in, they look for the engage. The hostile takeover lands, but only onto Faker and Owner. Paze not auto-attacking his teammates. In the end, T1 able to defend for now. Paze with a good blade caller. A TP behind. Skewmon now on the back foot. Ishtar's impact interrupted. The weirding from Caps doesn't find its mark, and Doran's here to join the party. Skewmon with the impale only lands it onto one, and Faker very happily will be pulled into his grasp. T1 with great reactions on the bot lane fight.
It's been about Paze and Carrier for so much of this year for T1, and when they need them most, they are stepping up. Absolutely. Owner and Faker being active, but Paze now on 2 items, 700 gold lead here, and BrokenBlade got caught one time, one mistake on the flank, lost his flash, lost his life, and that prompted T1 to go right back at him, because without that flash, it is so difficult to escape from those situations. And now Doran going to be able to get back in this off that tower. He's up 300 gold, Paze with a nice lead in this game, going back ever so slightly in T1's favor. They have the dragons, they have a tiny gold lead, and we'll see what they can do with it.
I mean, the 2k deficit that T1 were in has disapparated. It's gone. Now T1 with the advantage, with the 2 Drakes held, started by BrokenBlade, but not really a true contest out of G2. Caps trying to farm up in the side lane. One of the small gold leads that G2 have is on his shoulders, but it's only 160. As T1 have fought back valiantly in this game. G2 trying to contest around the Herald. Faker goes in the impale, just short of the stinger there.
Yeah, not quite gonna clip him. And yeah, Caps isn't up a ton of gold, but he is very strong, and he is going for a really high damage build here. He's going Sork Boots, and we're assuming that could be even a Shadow Flame second. He's looking for burst, and there are some squishy members over on the T1 side. If he can catch Paze, Paze is that strong member. Yes, you have the Xyle. Yes, you have tools. But sometimes Aurora just needs one combo and you are gone, or at least you're put so low that you're out of the fight. We can see G2 just trying to force this.
T1 looking for the contest. Faker hasn't hijacked an ultimate as of yet. Sonic Wave hits onto Skewmon. Smite comes out. G2 get the Herald. T1 unable to find purchase in a way they wanted to start that fight off, and G2 don't really need to force it.
Yeah, T1 were trying to delay because the hijack is just back up right now. So I think they were hoping, okay, we used the impale early. Maybe we can get them nervous about the fight, pull them back, steal and all, then use that as a tool. Because as much as I have talked about hostile takeover, a stolen hostile takeover is also very, very dangerous. Yes, you have wind wall. Yes, you have tools to maybe answer that. But they have to be there. They have to be available. So T1 was trying to keep them around. That is a lot of crystals on that turret. So Paze going to grab some more gold for himself as he just keeps on farming, hoovering up all this gold around the map. And he has just been a monster in the team fights.
Skew looking for Faker. Has the flash, has the rocket belt. Ishtar's impact comes in. Faker dashes away, uses the flash, uses the rocket belt, but BrokenBlade's there for the chase. And with the impale, there's no escape for Faker. BB with his 3rd of the game.
Nicely done there by BrokenBlade. Skewmon and BrokenBlade get up towards topside, kill off Faker, get his flash. Don't have any flashes of their own to spend, and they don't even need them. little surprised that Faker actually even went for the flash from that position, given that when you looked at the map, no one was right there. Often when you see Faker spending the summoners in those spots, it is to buy time for someone who's sprinting up the river. They didn't have that in position. And we can check in on the Coinbase gold grind. This is the big advantage right now for T1. It is gold on Pays, on the Xayah, a champion that can be so dangerous in the team fight. But again, G2 with a lot of tools to answer. The wind wall, the potential dive, the flank from the Aurora, the hostile takeover he has to be careful of. There's a lot of things that Pays needs to play around.
You only have one Featherstorm, and that one has to be used perfectly. The rest of it on that Mikhails that Keria has picked up, the quickness to distract the enemy team as well, the Gnar as well. There's a lot of tools in T1's collective toolkit to keep Pays safe, but G2 have a lot of tools in theirs to try and dive on that Xayah. TP towards the mid lane here by Caps. BrokenBlade waiting in the darkness towards the top side. He's pushed that wave into Doran, but he doesn't want to show too easily. Doran's just gone Mega Gnar. The Drake down to 5,000. It's T1 who are sitting on it right now. BrokenBlade trying to chase Doran through that topside jungle. Caps goes in across the Veil. Keria just short of getting clipped by that handshake. Double TPs come out as Doran is matched by BrokenBlade. Infernals, Drake secured for G2. Ishtar's Impact coming for the follow-up. There's the Featherstorm. Pays charged into by the Rift Tower, but a great charm on the backline. Keria finds all four of them. Pays takes out Skewmon. Between worlds we go, and to the afterlife go T1. On Summer on the chase. Doran trying to escape, but I think the G2 have got him. BrokenBlade slices him in twain as T1 only Faker and Keria remain.
The Battle Herald did so much work for G2 in that fight. They go in, they got the early Featherstorm off of Pays, and that Chains of Corruption from Hans Sama chained to 4 members, I believe, from T1. They were getting rooted up one after another after another. Everyone from G2 piled in. Caps immediately flashed onto Pays, and we can watch this one more time. They summon up the Herald, and they decide, okay, the threat of the Herald is enough. Both top laners are TPing in. You can see both coming in the back of the fight. And then after they secure it, the instant Herald from Caps. Caps is going to charge in towards that backline, and Pays uses the early on the hostile takeover, but then lands on the Herald. And now watch Caps. As soon as he pops out of the Herald on this side, he's going to insta-flash onto Pays. He goes in onto him, pushing him back. The Chains of Corruption came through and just immediately rooted up so many members there. Caps survives that final auto, gets out, and is able to knock him down. And just so well played there by G2, and just putting that pressure on the backline.
Ishtar's Impact coming out. Dragon's Rage has to be used for the disengage. Faker was chasing Caps in the picture-in-picture, and in the end, Faker and Ona will be allowed to retreat out of the lane, it feels, because there's an Impale and there's a flash. Between Worlds also available for Caps. Keria looking to see perhaps if BrokenBlade steps up a little bit too far. Skewmon finds him. Faker found and locked against the wall, and Faker in this bot lane is destined to fall. Caps secures it, a killing spree for the Aurora. Mid lane pushed in, it looks like bot lane's going to be 2. Doran allowed by BrokenBlade to take this top lane tower because Keria was nearby.
And just like that, we're back above where the gold lead was before. It is now 2.3K here, 2.4K briefly for G2, and they are pushing in on this next tower, looking to extend that gold lead even further. Caps getting so fed right now.
T1 still have all those options. We talked about them a bunch. We talked about how good their team fighting is, and although they have not shown it to their epitome in this series, you know they can turn it on like that. T1, such a resilient team, such an experienced team. All it takes is a single blink. You take your eyes off them, and T1 look for players like this. Faker behind. BrokenBlade looks to recall out. Doran's on his way. Faker spots him with the Scryer's Bloom. A 2-level advantage at the moment for BrokenBlade, but it's going to be a 4-man advantage for T1 when the rest of their team reacts. Wind wall down. Keria here, a grand entrance, and a swift exit for BrokenBlade. The last breath, the last he breathes. T1 with great reactions.
Yeah, great reactions. Now they're going to force the Baron. Guaranteed. This is a T1 classic. Get a pick, go to the Baron, force the issue here, but Faker has no ultimate up to steal anything, and he is low, so T1 say, okay, G2 responded too quick, we gotta get out of here.
And it's moments like that that make T1. They are so good at finding those little avenues back into a game after they begin to fall behind. Smart of them to back off, I have to say. I think a Chain of Corruption hostile takeover between Worlds combo there would have been pretty deadly as Ono is showing him on a ward.
I think he's trying to maybe look for a side lane play, but he doesn't know he's been spotted. The bot lane from T1 is in that top lane brush, I still believe. So they have 3 members up there, but all of G2 are coming. They're outnumbered. They don't know.
Skewmon will face check. Keria and Pays are waiting. There's the quickness. They jump on Caps. Lebrov here with the bailout. Featherstorm out from Pays. The bailout on Caps won't come down in time. The dash back, the hostile takeover only hitting onto Keria. Chain of corruption out of Hans Summer. Grand Engine's going to get him all knocked up. Pays getting chased out, slammed against the wall. Hans Summer opens up and Pays falls. A double for the Varus. T1 now on the back foot as BrokenBlade looks for more. Needs to land the knockup. Faker dodges with the rocket belt. Keria, Gleaming Quill for the heal. G2 might turn their attentions towards the Baron. Doran halfway to Mega.
Has no wind wall. Hostile takeover.
Hostile takeover. Only clips Lebrov. And Doran, even with the Narv against the wall, still gets knocked up. Faker dives in. Hans Summer at a 3rd HP. Slammed into the wall by the Ishtal's impact. And the impact of Skewmon's Singer is felt again as Faker now on 10 HP. Chased out of the jungle. He's going to try and dodge away. Keria's on his way across as well. But here's the Scorpion King as Skewmon finds him.
Nicely done by G2 again. T1 making the best of a bad situation. They were outnumbered. That ward from G2 spotted Owner going up there. But G2 was not aware. Oh, no, they were. They were aware that even Keria was up there. So they pinged out both. And they knew that this is a possibility, so that's why they overloaded this side of the map. I wasn't sure if they had spotted Keria or not, but we got to go back to live because it's a solo kill onto Caps. How did that happen?
I have no clue, Azale. As the TP comes in and T1 are calling for the Baron. Owner actually at the Inferno right now. It might just be Dorman looking to get a little bit of vision. G2 are the ones around the Baron right now. Inferno Drake has been begun by Owner. Would be their 3rd of the game. Put them on soul point.
So Pays did spend his flash in that, so it has to be some sort of E-flash that did catch him off guard. We'll see if G2 can punish Pays. Missing that summoner, it means that T1 will go to soul point. So we'll see this one more time. Cap just goes into stealth. Got to be an E-flash to the side. Yep, just caught him with the E-flash. Brilliant play.
Impale happening on the screen as Faker uses the hijacked Impale as well. Keria trying to get the quickness on towards the back line as the hostile takeover catches onto Faker and Doran on the back. Pays has Featherstorm available as Keria tries to step forward. They'll jump onto Hans Summer, kicking back. He almost takes out Doran, but Pays gets the kill. Caps being in, but T1 are turning it around. Once again, their magic reigns supreme as T1 win out the fight.
Pays getting that pick triggers everything here for T1. He gets the pick, they force the issue, and the trade of Impales there between Faker as Keria is behind Caps. Are they going to look for the turn? They are. Here comes Faker.
Grand Entrance comes out, but across the veil goes Caps. Lebrov and BrokenBlade trying to trade towards the top side. Pays getting chased out by BB, but he can't get the Steel Tempest down in time. Pays gets the kill. Lebrov going to get taken out by Faker as well. Between worlds we go, and into the grave goes Lebrov. Caps able to survive, but look at the turn from T1. Baron buff for the next 3 minutes. Caps recalling. Keria and Faker do not want to let him get away. They'll chase him down and in the end have to dash out.
They do delay the recalls though, so that means they're going to get mid lane tower. They're pushing in multiple lanes. Doran shoving up top as T1 really starting to battle back here. They needed some big performances. They've only been swept once in international history, back in 2017. That is a long time ago. And they are trying to stave off that defeat here as Skewmon could be in trouble.
Quickness out of Keria. Skewmon trying to get out. They'll go for Hans Summer instead. The Dragon's Rage kick, though, saves him. Hans Summer kicked across the wall by Owner, and now with a double impale, Lebrov's there with a hostile takeover as well. They'll pull them back underneath the tower. Owner takes a tower shot, still gets the kill. No, he doesn't. In fact, he went in with a resonating strike, and now Skewmon is a little bit too deep as he is going to get taken out by T1. The collapse continues. Hans Summer chased out by Keria. Needs the Gleaming Quill. Needs the auto attacks. He'll get them. Lebrov falls as well. BrokenBlade slammed in by the Gnar. T1. It looked disastrous, but still they get a 4-for-1.
And that is what makes T1 such a special team. A mistake from one player, but the others are there to cover, there to make up for it. T1 pile in. Only 3-0'd once at internationals, and it looks like they are on the brink of guaranteeing that will not happen today. But G2 not out of this just yet. Caps is back.
The threat
and will be able to hold on.
With the Between Worlds is too great for T1 to stay around. They'll take the inhib tower and the inhib. The recall comes out from Pays and Keria. A 4,000 gold lead now for T1. Well, have another look at this. because Hans Sommer should have died.
He absolutely should have, and this is just kind of a miscalculation here. Thought he had the damage to kill him with the Dragon's Rage, but saves him. And in comes Lebrov, and this is where you're thinking, this is a disaster here for T1. But the problem is, no TP on Caps, and Caps is pushing top lane. Everyone from T1 is piling in. Had Caps been able to join, if he was TPing in behind them in this moment, it's a completely different story. But even with that mistake, it does not matter because all of T1 comes in, they support the play, they pile in, they wipe them off the map here. And T1 making up for that misstep from Owner. It's a rare one from him on Lee Sin, and they have the full court press now.
What a game, what a game. T1, and with 10 seconds left on their Baron power play, will just back away. They have a massive lead for Pace, 2.2k ahead. Only, well, it's 4 items to 4.5 really between the two AD carries. But we'll see those resets coming out. We'll see if we get more in those inventories.
And the amount of damage that he's going to do with this build, this is a full offensive build here. He's got his IE, his LDR, he's 100% crit, and he has the QSS on top, plus some Mikhails from Keria, and Keria went Bandle Pipes, so he is kind of playing that pseudo-enchanter role.
Oh, Keria steps in, Battle Dance away. Infernal Drake up in 50 seconds time would be sold for T1. Skewmon with the smite, Impale used by Faker, he pulls back the Skarner, and Paze begins to open up, and Paze just rips through Skewmon, the hostile takeover torch to the side as well. Lebrov can't escape, T1 as a 5-man squad, just chase them down, between worlds we go, the quickness on the back line as Owner with the kick this time, delivers Hans Sommer into the waiting arms of his team. No sweep today, no 3-0, T1 with the resilience, with the experience, will not be denied a series.
T1 battling back here, showing some life in Game 3. And Faker smiling as they march on the Nexus. This one was a huge one, and we have got ourselves